Good morning. It's Tuesday, and I have Mr. Bill Baertlein here, Tillamook County Commissioner. Hello.
Good morning.
Hello. It's funny, we were just talking about the eclipse, which we'll talk about maybe at the end here. So my brain's like, wait, what were we going to start with?
We can start on the eclipse.
You want
That's
to?
Fine.
Okay. So yeah, we were talking kind of, David Gomberg was on yesterday and said, and made a very good point. So let me back up. August 21st, it's a Monday. We're expecting people to come in probably Thursday, most likely a lot Friday. So people are going to take like a 4-day weekend. There are folks that travel around the world that follow eclipses, right?
There are.
Yeah. So we should just prepare and hunker down in our houses that weekend because it's going to be insanity. At least that's what we're expecting.
We're expecting total insanity. They're saying the roads are going to be so clogged you won't be able to go anywhere. You won't be able to get out.
We already know what that feels like a little bit. It's going to be our summer traffic amplified by 10,000.
Yep.
It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be summer traffic on steroids this year.
Yeah.
And so we need to be prepared. You need to have some food at home and
Make plans to just stay at home that weekend.
Treat it just like an emergency and stay at home. Mm-hmm. It's unless you have a secret route down to Pacific City where it's going to be a total blackout, stay at home and watch the 90% blackout here in Tillamook.
Yeah, and it's interesting because David Gomberg reminded us yesterday that it's actually going to happen in the morning around this time, which means the sun's going to be in the east. Like I just picture it being above us, but it's really going to be still kind of rising in the morning.
That's right, because you won't be looking out over the ocean
to
see it.
Right. You'll be looking towards the mountains to see it.
Wow.
I know, isn't that weird?
It's
just
weird.
To think about oh yeah, that's right, because it's going to be in the morning. And you were mentioning the state is kind of using this as a study, or
they're using it kind of as a training for what will happen if we have the major earthquake and everything is disrupted on the coast, because everything is going to be pretty much disrupted on the coast during the eclipse. And all we can do is kind of ride with it. Mm-hmm. It is going to be putting a tremendous amount of pressure on our law enforcement and our various agencies in the community.
Yeah, for sure.
The hospital will probably have more patients in, or more people in with injuries, because there's just going to be so many more people.
Right.
And then where do you position the ambulances to get them back to Tillamook if out of Pacific City? They're just not that many.
No, because 101 is 2 lanes most of the way, one lane each way.
And if you have traffic backed all the way up, how are you going to get an ambulance in and out?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I know. I think about it and I go, wow, there's a lot of things to consider.
There's a ton of things to consider. Mm-hmm. It's just going to be
It'll be
very interesting
I know.
It
will be very interesting. Again, it's August 21st, which is a Monday. So, like I said, it's going to be a whole weekend thing. If you don't have to come into town, don't come into town that weekend.
That would be my suggestion. Although I think the main focus will probably be Pacific City, where it's a total eclipse.
Right.
And that is just it's already a circus down there. It's just going to be horrendous.
Yep.
I'm hoping the people in Pacific City are ready for what's coming.
Oh my gosh, I know. I think about summer traffic and how clogged it gets during the summertime, and I just can't. My brain can't wrap its head around like what it's going to be.
We have tried to rent some additional porta potties for down there.
Oh yeah, good idea.
And you can't rent any.
Oh, really?
Everything is sold out in the state. You cannot rent a porta potty during the eclipse. And I don't know if you'll be able to get any from out of state. It's just one of those crazy, crazy things.
And again, I'll say, the universe is going to play a joke on us, and it's going to be overcast that morning. Because that does happen. We get the marine layer in the morning sometimes.
We very well could.
Yeah, which would be sad for us. Okay, so enough of the eclipse, because I'm sure we'll be talking about it many more times with many other people. Yes, it's kind of a fun topic to talk about, but a little daunting as well.
Yeah, Nan Devlin was discussing it with us, and she said, Bill, I'm going to get blamed for all these tourists. And she said, it's not my fault.
It has nothing to do with me.
It has nothing to do with our advertising or promotion. It's just going to happen.
Right. Yeah, it's not like they're advertising, come see here for the eclipse.
Yeah.
We'll just come out.
No.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that happens now and every 100 years?
I think David Gomberg said, the last one was like 1970, somewhere in the 70s, sometime during the 70s. So yeah, I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I don't think the next one is supposed to happen for another 100 years or something.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be around.
No, I don't think any of us will be. Hey, let's talk about another subject. You have some openings on different committees, right?
Right. We have 2 openings at the county right now for committee appointments. One is the Planning Commission. We've had a resignation, so we need to fill that position. That's a really important position, and if it is a little bit time consuming, and it can be stressful at times when you're making planning decisions that can impact the landowners. So really, really do need that person.
Does that commission, are they looking at, they're not looking at individual permits that are coming in. They're looking at laws and zoning and things like that?
To an extent, but they also rule on if somebody applies for a permit and it gets overturned or told no, then it can be appealed to the Planning Commission. Uh-huh. Or if somebody doesn't like the fact that the Planning Commission or the planners made a decision the other way, they can come in and appeal and ask that it not be done. So they have some controversial decisions.
Yeah, I was going to say, sounds like not a tough job, but a kind of puts you in a precarious situation. You deal with a lot of emotions.
You need to be logical in your decisions.
Yeah, passionate people, I like to call them.
They are very passionate. And then from there, if a citizen doesn't like the decision of the Planning Commission, they can appeal it to us as the 3 commissioners, and we'll hold a public hearing on it. And if our decision's not like, they can go up to the state agency, LUBA, on it. So it's one after another.
But the Planning Commission is kind of where they start.
That's where the initial impact is.
Yeah.
And all of the evidence comes into play.
So, and it's a volunteer position,
It's a volunteer position. Those, like I say, some of those can get pretty heated. We had one that was appealed to us. It started at about 10 in the morning. And I made the mistake of telling the attorneys they could have as much time as they needed to present their case. At 4:30 that afternoon, it finally was over.
Oh my gosh!
That was one long day,
Yeah.
and there were probably 3, 4, 5 attorneys in the room, plus engineers. And I was sitting there doing the quick math as a CPA, and I said, we're running $2,000 to $3,000 an hour just in attorney fees.
Oh my gosh!
So that was an interesting one, and I learned a valuable lesson. Put a time limit on.
Expensive lesson to learn because it wasted your whole day.
And then it gets appealed anyway.
Right. So Planning Commission has an opening, and
also the Parks Advisory Committee, and the Parks Advisory Committee is someone from either Central County or North County.
Oh, okay.
We're replacing somebody that was, I believe, from Central County, but we need one from North County too. So, and if you need to and have any questions on it or want to apply online, the forms are there at the county website, or you can call the office secretary Isabel at the county, and she can give you the information.
Nice. Okay. If you're interested in either one of those, contact the commissioner's office.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. Do you know one of those do-it-yourself kind of guys? They're always telling you to do it yourself. Well, sometimes that isn't the best solution. You're in luck, whether it's a leaky faucet, a complete bathroom remodel, or maybe replacing that septic system. Do yourself a favor, call Clark's Plumbing. They're professionals, they'll get the job done. Anything, new installations, upgrades, that stopped up drain, you name it, they can do it. So the next time you hear do yourself a favor and call 842-5105. That's 842-5105 for the professionals at Clark's Plumbing. So we're talking with Commissioner Bill Baertlein this morning. Do you want to start talking about the Salmonberry Trail?
Yeah.
Because you had your meeting on Friday.
We had our meeting on Friday, and so we'll give a little discussion on where it is and what it is. A lot of folks still don't know what the Salmonberry Trail is all about.
The word Salmonberry Trail, but don't really understand or know what that means.
Yeah, just what exactly is the Salmonberry Trail? So the Salmonberry Trail is going to be a bicycle, hiking, possibly horse trail that starts in Tillamook, although we're hoping to get it all the way out to the port. We don't know yet if that's even feasible due to some other issues. But from Tillamook all the way to Banks, the trail would follow the old rail line, the Port of Tillamook Bay rail line. Start in Tillamook, go through Bay City, Garibaldi, Rockaway Beach, and Wheeler. So you could potentially hop on a bicycle in Tillamook and ride all the way up to Wheeler without having to cross traffic, is what...
Or be on 101.
Because I
pass, especially now, it's getting to be summertime, and I pass those cyclists, and I say a little prayer for them, because I would not be doing that.
Yeah. And
it scares me.
Yeah, it does. And I just don't... I don't have the stomach for it. Let's put it that way. I could not ride on 101. It's just too dangerous. So the beauty of that, the Salmonberry Trail, for me, and the reason that I got involved is that we need some more trails in Tillamook County, some easy trails. We've got, rough trails up in the woods. We do have the Kelch's Point Reserve Trail, which is a nice, easy trail. But we need something where people, like in the city of Tillamook, can just take their kids and walk to the trail and take off and go to the creamery for an ice cream cone. Or farther.
Or go for a run and not have to run in traffic, or cycle and not have to be in traffic.
Right. And the joggers and the walkers, and even those of us that are starting to get a little up in years, a place where you can walk your dog and not worry about having to cross traffic.
Sure.
It's just a nice flat trail. So that has been my focus on this thing from day one, is the health of the community. It gets us a chance to get out and walk. And that's one of the most healthiest things you can do, is just get out and walk.
And it's nice as a pedestrian or a bicyclist to not have to worry, not only crossing traffic, but just being in the road with traffic. I know Portland has, is it like 120 miles, I think, of, it just kind of circles around in different areas of Portland, but it's all interconnected. 120 miles might be too much, but they have a really nice bike path that people can walk on, and my parents live off of Marine Drive, and it kind of runs alongside the road there, and it's really nice. Like, you don't have to just get on it, and you can go as far as you need to, and you don't have to worry about cars in any way, shape, or form.
Right, and the Portland Trail will eventually connect to the Banks Vernonia Trail, which is going to connect to the Salmonberry Trail.
Yeah,
because that's going to be the end point, is somewhere on the Banks Vernonia Trail.
That's really cool.
So it's really an exciting project, but we've been working on this. I've been working on it for 6 years, and it feels like we're a slug running a marathon, is what it feels like. 'Cause
it's a lot.
It's huge. It's 84 miles of potential trail.
That cross into different cities, and then you have state property, and then isn't there also some railroad association or something from the capital? I don't know.
Right. Where we are right now, it's we have a Salmonberry Trail Intergovernmental Agency that's heading this, STIA.
Right. Because it goes in so many places, and there's so many things that have to, T's that have to be crossed and I's that have to be dotted.
Right.
And,
So the four voting members of STIA, one is the head of state parks, Lisa Sumpton. The other is Peter Doherty, the head of the forestry department. I'm one of the voting members representing Tillamook County, and Jack Mulder is one of the representatives.
The creamery.
He's representing the Port of Tillamook Bay because he's on that board.
Oh, gotcha.
So those are the four voting members, and then we have about 15 ex officio members that show up and have a lot of input.
Right. Community conversation.
Yeah, the ex-official members are actually, let me look, Cycle Oregon and Tillamook Forest Heritage Trust, the Washington County Visitors Association, the Oregon State Senator from District 16, which I think is Betsy Johnson, State Representative from District 12, Debbie Boone, the Governor's Regional Solutions Team, North Coast Coordinator, Cycle Oregon, the TFHT, which I can't remember, Tillamook, I can't remember. But anyway, they all get to participate.
Yeah, and I can see why, because they all have valuable input that will help make this the right thing at the right time, the first time, versus having to, 10 years after it's done, has to be redone for whatever reason.
Right. And so we've been actively working on the trail. On the coastal segment, there was a grant for $100,000 to do the engineering survey work. And so that was done, completed about January, I believe, we've got the final draft showing how the trail could run with the railroad, with the Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad along the coast.
Oh, yeah.
So that we could do rail with trail. It's substantially more expensive to do rail with trail than it would be just to knock everything out and pop in a trail. But, the Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad is a viable organization. And we
and people enjoy, it's nice, especially in Rockaway, because you can really see it coming.
Yeah.
It's cool to be in Rockaway and you see this big old steam engine coming down. And
yeah, they have their niche. And they're doing a good job on that. So that was rails with trails from, like I say, Tillamook to Wheeler. That study's been completed. We're ready to probably start doing some projects. I think the very first part of the trail will be in Tillamook on the spur line. Tillamook City has $1 million and some odd dollars from ODOT to put that trail in. So that'll be actually the very first part of the trail that's actually done.
Cool. And it sounds like in the somewhat near future, and I say that like in the next 5 years. Does that sound...
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah. Versus like the whole thing is in the far, far, far future.
Right.
Comparison, relatively.
Yeah. And so we're working... the original study stopped at the creamery. So we're working to find funding to do a study for an alternative route from the city of Tillamook to the creamery, so it doesn't run right through two of our productive dairy farms, because it runs right through two farms, and one of them is almost right in their milking parlor. And
it's not going to work out.
You may not want PETA riding their bikes through there. Right. So we need we need to find an alternative route that would go from Tillamook to the creamery. And the city owns quite a bit of property, and I think a lot of the landowners out there are businesses that would benefit greatly from a trail. I mean, the restaurants would. So we need to look at an alternative route if we can figure it out.
So is the intention to take out the unused rail line, like where the rail riders go? Would that not exist anymore?
Right. The plan right now is no, it would stay.
Oh, okay.
It would stay. From Banks to where Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad's lease ends, that'll be all torn out and be strictly a trail.
I see.
And that's why we think that the bank side will probably get a substantial part done first, because it's relatively easy. You pull up the tracks and you put in the trail.
It's all the stuff on the other side from Wheeler down
that it's going to be problematical.
Right.
And the other part that is really going to be a challenge is through the Salmonberry corridor. 22 miles was destroyed in the flood. There's just no way. You can't. It's unbelievable the damage that was done up there. Yeah. So the plan right now is to start with a rough trail, just a hiking trail through there, not a bike trail, but a hiking trail. It probably will leave the railroad and go back into state forestry land to go around the bad spots. And the State Department of Forestry is willing to work on that and make that happen, because some of that will never be. It's impossible to even put a trail in. It is just... It's
so damaged.
It's so damaged you can't even put a hiking trail in there.
Oh, wow.
And it's just an incredible amount of damage. And then there's 5, 6, 7 tunnels to deal with. And that could be interesting, making sure that's safe for people to go through.
Especially if it hasn't been used in however long.
I think that about 2007.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that area.
So it hasn't been maintained.
It hasn't been maintained. And then
10 years.
And it's 1,500 feet. How are you going to get lighting in there for a bicyclist? Or if you're hiking, you're going to need flashlights to go through it. And you're going to have to make it stable and safe.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be stuck in there if there was an earthquake.
No. But it might be a nice place to camp in a rainstorm. But
true. Yes. I'm going to take a quick break, and then can we talk about, as you were kind of explaining it, but there were things that came out of the Friday meeting that we should discuss?
Yeah, we can discuss that.
Okay. Tillamook is farm country, and nobody serves this farming community better than the co-op. The co-op is actually 3 stores in one. Are you looking for work clothes, hickory shirts, work boots, rubber boots, rain gear, and gloves? The co-op has it. You'll find fencing, stock tanks, and everything from PVC to culvert pipe in stock. Tillamook Farmers Co-op treats you right. When you stop for fuel, your windows are always washed because they care about their customers. Plus, the co-op has Purina feeds to help your livestock thrive. Offering quality products since 1936, Tillamook Farmers Co-op is there for you. So we're talking with Commissioner Bill Baertlein this morning, and we were talking about the Salmonberry Trail. So you want to maybe mention what the meeting on Friday was about?
Where we are at this point. Just a quick check. We still don't have it rail banked.
Which means what?
It means rail banking means that you preserve the right-of-way. Means that you can use it for a trail, and it doesn't revert to the former owners. If we don't rail bank it now because the port's already abandoned it, there's reversionary clauses, and some of the line could go back to the original owners.
Oh, which was who?
Boy, 100 years ago, who knows?
Oh, okay.
And there's attorneys in town coming in, and they're having meetings on that to discuss that, because even after it's rail banked, it's my understanding that there are some funds available from the federal government on that. It won't affect anything locally, but on the federal end it will. So we need to get that rail banked so that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Rail banking also preserves the line so that at a future date, maybe 100 years from now, a railroad might go in again. Who knows? But that preserves the line. So it's rails to trails to rails. It's actually the formal definition
RTR.
of it. RTR, rather than just rails to trails. It's the whole combination. So where we are right now is, like I said, it's been abandoned. The rail line is totally abandoned. The Surface Transportation Board knows that we are working towards a rail bank partner. Once it's abandoned, there was a timeline for us to get the lease agreement done and all the agreements that they require. Well, we didn't get it done in time, so we got a 180-day extension. Our second 180-day extension is coming due shortly, and so we may end up having to get a third 180-day extension. It just takes time with this many agencies to get an agreement that all these agencies will agree to.
Well, and it's government, right?
It's government.
That's slow in and of itself.
It's slow in of itself, and then when you figure, the port has 3 attorneys working on it: their attorney, their environmental attorney, and a railroad attorney. And then STIA has its attorney working on it, and then the Department of Justice has 2 attorneys that are going to review it, or I don't know how many attorneys that will review it for the 2 agencies, for state parks and for the Department of Forestry.
Oh, geez.
So it's just like watching a snail
run a marathon.
It's just the way it is. But we, at this point, we have to get it rail banked, or we lose parts of the railroad.
Right. So was the meeting open to the public?
The meeting was open to the public. We did have an executive session.
And were there public community members that came?
There were a number of community members that were there, and
people are generally supportive of this, though, right?
More so in Central County through Wheeler, and then from Wheeler North, where it doesn't go through Nehalem, but we're getting some opposition from folks up in that area.
Gotcha.
More than we do in Tillamook or Rockaway.
Interesting. I think it's a really cool thing, and it's exciting to know that the Tillamook path might be available, in the next 5-ish years.
Yeah, at least the Hochorten path will be done in the next 4 to 5 years, probably sooner. And then I would really like to see us find that alternative route to the creamery and get that done.
Yeah.
That would solidify one section, and then there's Rockaway that has some really good areas that'll be really easy to do rail with trail.
Kind of do where you can, and then connect it when you need to. Once you get stuff done.
Once it's rail banked, we've got 100 years to finish it. There's no timeline, so we just kind of chuck away at a half a mile here, a half a mile there, and before you know it, you got 84 miles.
Yeah, there you go. Was there anything else you wanted to mention? Because we're out of time already.
Holy smokes!
I know. It's
Where did
delightful.
it go to?
We had a good time talking.
I'm becoming a politician. I used to come in here and I'd be scared to death.
I keep you on task.
I'd be scared to death when I'd come into the radio station.
And now
couldn't wait for it to be. Already kept looking at the clock. Now it's
only 9:36, and now it's 9:58.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to mention?
No, that's good.
We should say, though, the openings on the Planning Commission and the Parks Department, if you're interested in those, there are 2 openings, one on each, right?
One on each.
Yeah, please call the commissioner's office. Because they're looking for some people to help out there.
Yes.
Okay. Just like that, we're done. Tomorrow, the Tillamook County Health Department will be here. Don't forget senior meals, noon every weekday at the Kiowanda Community Center in Pacific City, as well as the Tillamook Senior Center at 4th and Stillwell. Cost is $3 for seniors and $6.75 for everyone else. On Friday, Nestucca is having their high school graduation. And then also on Friday, so exciting, I love that I get to talk about this now, the Manzanita Farmers Market opens from 6 to 8. On Saturday morning, there will be a memorial service held for Lucille Toby Thompson behind Lee's Camp, and that starts at 11 a.m. Also on Saturday from 4 to 6 p.m., the Neocani High School Debate and Speech Team is holding their annual dessert gala and silent auction in the high school cafeteria. It is open to the public, and proceeds go towards scholarships. Saturday night, the Tillamook Community Chorus will be performing spectacular Broadway hits at 7 p.m. at Bethel Baptist Church. Many of your favorite Broadway songs will be featured, and refreshments will be served after the performance. It is their last concert of the season, so bring a friend and enjoy an evening of live entertainment. And on a personal note, I've seen them a couple times. It's amazing. It's a very fun, free thing to go see and listen to. And then on Sunday, the Pacific City Farmers Market opens from 10 to 2 at the corner of Camp Street and Bruton Road. I love that we're talking about farmers markets.
I do too.
I love it. I can't wait for the Tillamook one to open.
Yeah, I just stopped by and bought half a flat of strawberries yesterday from the strawberry people.
From the berry ladies out on McCormick Loop?
Yeah,
the Berry Patch Girls?
One of the groups.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
It was at the co-op, and that's where I stopped in.
Yeah.
I
know. I love it.
Yeah, my man had strawberries for breakfast.
Love it. Thanks, Bill, for coming in this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you, Tillamook, for listening.